Hey, I'm Shelly.
And I'm Angela.
And this is Real Talk Dating Exposed,
where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of dating in your 40s.
Okay, Ange, on this episode, we are going to talk about the dicksand dilemma. Have you ever heard of it?
And it's new to me.
It's new.
But as we're learning about it,
It's
I'm
fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so dicksand dilemma.
Yeah. What is it? Tell us.
So typically it's when women, and often successful, smart, beautiful, independent, attractive women that have their shit together, end up falling for dudes, whether it be they're attractive or they're breadcrumbing, or basically dudes that we know are not good for us, but we just can't get away from them.
It's like quicksand.
So it's
if
like
you think
quicksand.
about it, but it's with the dick.
With the dick. The dicksand quicksand. So, I mean, I know I've been in that situation multiple times, right? Where you're like, oh my God, he's so good looking or whatever.
It's almost like you try to like rationalize, right? Like we have our gut, we have our intuition, and you're like, something's not right here, but there's blah, 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 blah. So it like keeps you coming back for more, right?
Totally.
Like
Yeah, and you're ignoring the
Yeah.
reality of really who they are, but there's like reasons why you rationalize that in your head. Right?
Keep coming back for more.
Yeah. So common dicksand traps.
Yeah. So number one, emotionally unavailable. I mean, we've talked about this a lot, and I think it's hard to really gauge emotional unavailability in the beginning, right? Because it's just conversation.
Totally.
So you're going off of like the chemistry that we talked about, right? But yeah, number one there.
And I think what the bigger thing with that is if they're attractive, but they're emotionally unavailable. We forgot that piece. So I think and I've been victim to this, which is, oh my God, he's so good looking though. So like, then you rationalize.
Yeah, it's pros and
emotional
cons.
unavailability. Yeah. I mean, that's sent me down numerous amount of bad relationships for that reason.
Or maybe he needs more time, and then he'll, with time, feel more comfortable in opening up, right?
Totally.
And the answer is no. Someone that's emotionally available shows up emotionally available, period. So.
Another dicksand trap is when they love bomb you up front, but then pull away. So there's so much there, right?
It's kind of like the breadcrumbs we talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, whoa. And then you start self-reflecting. You're like, wait, did I do something?
Well, because they're coming at you so hard.
Yes.
And then pulling away, which triggers what? If you're an anxious attachment. These are like our attachment style things we talk about, right? Which at least is me. So if they're coming in hard, which I've been a victim of so much love bombing, I feel like, in relationships. And then when they do pull away, you feel like, I did something.
Yeah, I must have said something, or what didn't I say? Could I have done something differently? And it's unsettling. It throws you down this like spiral of, well, when am I going to hear from him? What is he doing? You know, depending on where you're at in the relationship.
Totally. But it keeps you hanging on because then that anxiousness comes out.
You're just waiting for that little piece of love bombing to any sign that he's like still interested will keep you on the hook.
Yeah. So I think another one also is, I mean, like we talk about breadcrumbing, right? Where they do just enough to keep you hanging on, but then like not enough to really be fulfilling.
Yeah.
So like these are all signs again that like you're in dicksand.
Yeah.
You're deep in dicksand.
You're stuck.
You're stuck in the dicksand.
You're sinking.
You're sinking in the dicksand. But why does that happen though? Like I feel like why do we hold on to that? I mean, I've done it. Have you ever been in that situation?
Yeah, I think, I think there's a combination of things. It's maybe our age has something to do with it, right? Where you're like, okay, but like these things were good.
Yeah.
And then weighing the pros and cons, or maybe they pull back and then they come back and everything is normal. Like, I mean, all of these things where as a woman, you might feel like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe I'm the crazy one.
For sure.
Maybe, so I think there's that. There's also the component with the dicksand dilemma of the highs are like the goods are really good and then the lows are not so good.
For sure.
And I think when you're in that type of
up and
relationship, you live for the highs, right? You're like, okay, the lows, oh, this is shitty. But like when we're back together or like when we make up, whatever the situation is, like it's going to be so good. So you find yourself like grasping for straws and holding on to anything. I mean, just like you'd be if you were sinking in the sand.
Sinking in the dicksand?
I'd be like, Shelly, oh my hand, pull me out.
Pull me out of here.
But it's a dick.
It's a dick.
Yeah.
It's a dicksand. All right. Also, sometimes I think we convince ourselves that they'll change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll get better.
Yeah.
Like we can make them better.
Right.
No.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
but these are the stories we tell ourselves that typically get us down these paths where we're like, holy shit, how did I end up here with this dude? And it's not good.
Right.
Okay.
I think also we're taught from a society standpoint of like chemistry, right? You want to walk away feeling those butterflies. You want to, like, you'll know the second you meet someone, and maybe that's what you're chasing versus, is this person compatible with my life? Am I compatible with this human? Right. And looking at, when do they go to bed? Do they drink a lot? Are they out a lot?
Yeah.
Versus maybe someone like me where want to be in bed by 9 o'clock and I'm not a big drinker, you know, but we grasp onto like how we're feeling, which is, I feel like, a number one red flag of not good.
Not good.
Because that's not sustainable. Those feelings will go away. And it could potentially even be a distraction, right?
For sure. Well, I think that goes into, why do women, successful, smart, independent, et cetera, women find themselves in these situations? And I think one of the biggest things is the chemistry versus compatibility piece, right? Which, again, therapy has made me work through. I mean, oftentimes we think that it's compatibility, but it's like, no, you just feel that spark. And then like, what are we taught, or what have we learned the hard way sometimes, is that when it is sparking quick,
fucking fire's about to go
off.
I
feel like when it's, and when it is fast and furious, it normally crashes and burns. So like, that's what I tell myself. Not that you don't want to feel something, right? But like, that chemistry does not mean and equate to compatibility. You know? No. And I think that's what sends a lot of women spiraling, you know, because it's that connection. And especially if they add in like the touches of the love bombing and all the shit, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Without even really knowing if there's like a compatibility piece there at all.
I think there's also that component of like the challenge, like you said, in our ego being like, well, I'm different. He's going to see that I'm different. So then once he sees that, then he'll stop giving me those highs and lows. Then he'll be consistent. Then he'll be able to open up, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. I mean, these are all, we're talking about the reasons why women get stuck in the sand. And that's one of it, right? Where it's like, well, I'm going to show him what a consistent relationship looks like.
And I'm guilty of these things too. I feel like I've been in a lot of dicksand in my life now that we're thinking about this.
You just
because I was also that like ego, which is like, the player, or we had actually my ex-husband on the last one, you know, love you, Erwin, but like, he was the cheater, right? Like, he cheated on every relationship. And I was like, I'll be the first one he doesn't cheat on.
No.
You know, like we get in our heads and we can let egos prevail and think that we can, you know, we're not working with what's in front of us necessarily always. It's us thinking we are bigger than them. And like, that is just too big of a feat that I never want to take on again.
Yeah. And I think there's a component too, where if you find yourself in the dicksand a lot, or if you look back on your relationships and you're like, oh my God, this has been all of my relationships, Angela and Shelly, you're describing my experience. Yeah. Then a lot of it could be linked to past trauma and previous relationships where this is a taught behavior, right?
For sure.
Where you're taught that love is hard. Love isn't just given. You have to earn it, right?
Or that you're not enough, that you just take what you can get.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you find yourself, like, highly encourage you to do some therapy and counseling to figure out where that comes from. Do some inner child work to give yourself what you needed in those moments, because I always say you are the common denominator. If this keeps happening, you are the common denominator, not to make you a victim, but to give you some power to be like, okay, what am I doing to put myself in these situations?
For sure. And let's call a spade a spade. We've all been through shit, right? Yeah. Like, I think everyone needs therapy on some level or some sort of life coaching to help them get through shit, because I don't think at this age anyone's gone unscathed, where you're not walking into some potentially bringing your own shit with it, right? And I think another piece to this, and the final one we'll talk about with that, which is why we find women falling into that, is that at our age, I find that people are like, well, I'm 40 and I don't want to start over. Or like, it's just easier because like, and I hear this from women, like, people say to me, like, I'm 42 and they're like, I'm sorry, you're still single. Like, that's gotta be hard. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not. It's not hard. Yeah. You know, but I also don't feel bad for myself that I'm single at 40, you know, or 42, because on the flip side, we could look at people in relationships that are fucking miserable. Yeah. You know, but I think a lot of people that end up in those, like women, where they're thinking like, if there are kids involved or whatever, like it would be a lot harder to start over than it is to just kind of accept the mediocrity of what I'm in. And like, I'm just not about that life.
No.
You know?
But it took work to get there.
For sure.
And it's not, I don't think it's a normal thing. Humans in general are designed to have companionship and connection, right? So it's like, if you're not getting that in a relationship, then make sure you have a community of friends or support around you so that you don't feel so isolated, because that can get a little lonely. But at the end of the day, yeah, you don't want to settle.
For sure. But I mean,
but there's that component where you're like, okay, I'm 40, I'm in my 40s, 50s, whatever it is. And this is someone who loves me. I don't want to go back out in the dating scene because it's fucked up. And it is.
Yeah.
But to your point, would you rather just be alone than settle for this type of behavior?
Well, I think a lot of it is people don't know how to be alone, even at our age. So that's, again, all things people work on, right? Like we've done a lot of, we don't sit here and preach without having been through a lot of shit, having experienced a lot of this, and then also done work to like fix it.
Yeah. Right.
So I think there's, we're going to run quickly through the 5 types of dicksand men.
Okay.
I feel like there's 5. So we talked about this quite often already in this episode, but like the emotionally unavailable guy, right? So it's just like, I'm not ready for a relationship. The classic, like I'm here, but I'm not really there. I don't know. Why do you think women are attracted to that?
I think certain women are attracted to that. And I think it all goes back to childhood, where that is what they are taught, maybe it be by their mom or dad or neither. Yeah. Where again, love isn't just given. Yeah. You have to prove that you are love worthy and that you're deserving of it. So that, I mean, everything goes back to childhood.
For sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. Second one, the love bomber turned ghost. So this is someone who, again, comes in hot. And you're like, this is fucking amazing. Yeah. You're falling back on that chemistry. This feels good. It tells you everything you want to hear, but then, and then goes away.
Yeah. But then like comes back enough to keep you around, right? It's not like a full ghosting status because you're stuck in.
It's like the second he knows he's about to lose you, then he comes back.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
It is.
I've been there. Yeah. It's not fun. All right. Third would be the inconsistent king, right? So one day he's all about you. Next, you feel like, where the fuck did he go? Like, I haven't heard from him for 3 days. Yeah. But then comes back like nothing's wrong. And then you're just like, what the fuck is happening right now? Yeah.
I hate that.
I hate that so much too.
But I feel like a lot of men are like that. And I also, again, we're going to preface this with, it all depends on where you're at in your relationship. But I think you and I have been chatting about this for the last week. Like inconsistency as a human, regardless of what relation, whether it be a friendship with your parents, with your kids, whatever the dynamic is, like just be a consistent human.
In whatever capacity.
In whatever
I
capacity.
Agree. Well, because to me and you, that would be, I think, a red flag that we would not get stuck in the dicksand. No. We'd be like, fuck all the way off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If someone's like hot, cold, there, not there, we're all about consistency, whatever that looks like, because we show up consistent.
Right.
And this has been our conversations, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's easy to get jumbled into that, like, well, they're into me now, but then like they're pulling away, but like I haven't heard from them, but I don't want to look too needy or like, is there something, is it, you know what I mean? And then you get spiral.
Yeah.
And that's how these men keep you around.
Don't want to do that. Okay, fourth one, this situationship guy. So he likes having you around. You guys have a good time, but he doesn't want to commit to anything.
But it's so good that you're like, okay, well, maybe I could turn this into something.
Yeah, that's where you're just like, okay, well, with time, maybe he'll see what I'm worth. With time, he'll get comfortable. With time, he'll eventually make a commitment. And like you say, come correct. If you're not in a position to be emotionally available, which most of these situationship guys are not, then now's not a good time. Agree. Maybe it will be in 6 months, maybe 2 years, maybe never. It doesn't matter.
For sure.
But you deserve more than that.
Agree.
Yeah.
Don't fall on that dicksand.
Yeah.
All right. The last one is the fantasy guy, right? Like you're on vacation, you meet this dude. We're from Arizona. He lives in Jersey. This is all hypotheticals. And you are like, oh my God, this could be fucking amazing. Because you have that like romanticized trip together where you're like, it's romantic and whatever. And then you think like that realistically that would work. So like you fantasize what it could be. And I'm not saying long distance can't work, but I feel like you're romanticizing and kind of disillusioned by what the relationship could really look like, right?
I mean, your relationship at that point is a vacation.
For sure.
Right? It's not like, okay, let's go to the grocery store and clean the house and blah, 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 like your day to day. This is literally every time I see you, I'm on vacation. Of course it's going to be amazing.
For sure. Well, I think we talked about this.
And you show up differently.
Yeah. Well, even if it is long distance, which you and I talked about recently also, which is like, isn't it kind of like if you're seeing each other once a month, like how much can you fully understand?
No, you don't know anything.
I think it would take longer. Yeah. I'm not saying it can't work. People do it, right? But
yeah,
I just think we can romanticize and those kind of relationships, but in reality, like you're going to be falling in dicksand.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I feel about that.
We gave you the warning.
All right, that's your warning. All right, let's just chat through really quickly. Like if you find yourself swimming in dicksand, I just want to keep saying that. Dicksand, dicksand, dicksand. If you
It's
find
a
yourself
sandbox
down that
full
road,
of dicks.
like how do we get ourselves out? So I feel like number one is recognizing the pattern of the dicksand that you find yourself in, right?
Which is what we said, right? If you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, you guys are describing my relationships for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
You're part of the problem, right?
Yeah, you're the problem. And it's, again, unlearning what we were taught on what love and relationships should look like.
For sure.
And then learning the healthy.
And I think this
habits.
topic struck me so much and I was excited to bring it today is because I was like, I've lived in dicksand most of my life. I feel like I've lived in dicksand.
Just swimming around.
I've been swimming in dicksand for way too long. I mean, it's been a long time. I feel like I've gotten so much better, but like I still can find myself gravitating towards the dicksand. So I feel like there's a lot of others like me, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are. And I'm crying. Okay. Oh my God.
We gotta pull it together.
I'm dying. Okay. Right. So when we find ourselves going down the dicksand rabbit hole.
Yeah, you recognize it.
Yeah, you're recognizing it, but then I think also flipping the script.
Yeah,
like I think we get into, and this is part of like anxious attachment I think of a lot of people that fall in that space, is like, does he like me? But instead, like it took me a long time to do
like
this.
him?
I think that's my biggest struggle point sometimes, even still dating, is like, I'm more concerned with like, how am I showing up for them and are they receiving me? But then without even really, and that's like my insecure, you know, we all have our shit, right? But that's part of what I still find myself questioning instead of being like, time out.
Yeah.
I'm whole. I'm good. Like, do I even fucking
I
want
don't
this
even like this.
Do I even like this person? Or like, do I even like them?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think flipping that script instead of getting caught up in the shit.
Or the biggest thing is, do I like the way that this is making me feel? Do I like the fact that he goes away and comes back and our makeup is running?
I'm dying.
Goes away and comes back. Like, do I like the way that feels? The answer is fucking no. Nobody likes that. Then don't tolerate it.
Agree. Well, I think step 3 in that is also like, if you find yourself doing that, put a time limit on it, right? Like, all right, I'm going to give this a month. I'm going to communicate where I'm at. I'm going to give this a month to like work itself out based on me communicating that I'm not loving this.
Yeah.
And if they don't fix their shit, then like,
then you put the dicksand behind you and you say, peace out.
Peace out.
I am done here. And that's the last thing too, is just like, know your worth and
totally
walk away knowing that you have boundaries and you have expectations. And if it doesn't align with that person, like, who the fuck cares?
Agree.
There's other people out there that will.
Agree. So if you've ever found yourself in dicksand, we want you to slide into our comments. We'd love to hear it. We have a lot of experiences, obviously, with that. Is there anything else you want to add on this topic before we wrap this one up?
No, I think this is a good topic. I mean, like you said, we both have been in these situations and we can relate to it, which we can laugh about it now.
Yeah,
but
totally.
when you're in it, it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard to get out of. Yeah.
And if find someone that you can call and be like, hey, is this fucking normal?
Totally.
And they'll be like, no, that's not fucking normal.
And I think communicating through it. Yeah. And also, which we always preach, which is like, show yourself grace. And I think this is the biggest thing I still struggle with. I feel like this is on therapy session right now, which is like loving yourself through your shit, right? And being like, hey, I'm going to show myself grace while I'm navigating this, because we're all human and we've all been in those situations, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't and flip the script.
And like you said, once you get out of the dicksand, doesn't mean you're not going to fall back in.
Totally. It's just being
recognizing it sooner,
Agree.
right? And you're like, I've been here before. This sucks.
This sucks, and we're not going back there.
No.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, fam. If you're not following us on all platforms, please go do so.
And see you next time.